All right, so we are, Shalom Aleichem, we are holding started Torah Samach 60, the first Chelik Likutey Moharan, and we started with the Maimer, the beginning of the Idro Rabba Kadisha, which Reb Shimon said on the pasuk, Es Lasos Hashem, it is time to do for the Seva Kodesh Baruch Hu, Sferu Torah Secha, for the disrupted the Torah. So, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, why is Es Lasot Hashem? Why is it time to do an extra effort for Kodesh Baruch Hu? In other words, why it is the time to reveal the Soides HaTorah that Reb Shimon Bar Yochai revealed in the Idre Kadisha, Mishum Defer Toratecha, or they have disrupted the Torah. So Shimon Bar Yochai says, okay, what Torah did they disrupt? So he says, Torah Dileilo, the Torah of the above, the supernal Torah, which is the mysteries of the Torah, the Sedes Torah. That Sedes Torah will, Chas v'Chalila, will disappear, will become unreachable, unless we do this tikkun, this rectification, in other words, revealing the Sedes Torah. The Torah Dileilo, the Sedes Torah.
What's that in English?
In English, the Torah mysteries, the highest levels of Torah. I mean, they will become unreachable, they become impossible to get to, unless I reveal the Sedes Torah the way it was never revealed before. We went through a great length last time, about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai and the whole thing that went on. And he said, B'tikkun Hadah, we have to do this Torah, we have to reveal the secret of Olam HaTikkun. He said that the Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world in two stages. The first stage is, Olam HaShvira, the realm of breakage, in which the primordial light shone into the primordial spheres, and they shattered and fell into the lower world, and this the Klipot get their sustenance from. And the second time is Olam HaTikkun, in which we have new spheres that are divided into left, right, and middle. Spheres 2.0. And the light also is diminished. It's not the primordial light, Ein Sof. It's lower. So between this and this can fit together. It's Olam HaTikkun. So the Soides of Olam HaTikkun, this is what Reb Shimon Bar Yochai revealed in the Idro Rabba Kadisha. And he says, Ula'atik Yomer, and then he said, Ula'atik Yomer Itman, we're talking about the tikkun of this highest of all realms, of all spiritual personas, as it were, which is Atik Yomin, the sphere of the Kesser. And he says, Ksiv Ashrecha Israel mi chamocha. He says, Mi kamocha b'kelim Hashem. Mi kamocha b'kelim Hashem. He says, fortunate you are. So who is like you? Mi chamocha. Who is like you? Who is comparable to you? And he says, Mi kamocha b'kelim Hashem. Who is comparable to you? In the superpowers, Kodesh Baruch Hu. So he said, this is the reason why he can reveal those secrets. In other words, that Am Yisrael is incomparable, Kodesh Baruch Hu is incomparable. Since both are incomparable, so the secrets of Kodesh Baruch Hu can be revealed to Am Yisrael. The secrets of one incomparable can be revealed to his nation, which is also incomparable. And then Reb Shimon started talking about the Tikkun of Olam HaKesed, as we spoke last time. He called his Rabbi Elazar Brei, his Elazar, his son, and put him to the right, and he put Rabbi Abba from the left. And he says, Anan Klal Dekola, we encompass everything. And we explained last time that Reb Shimon said that he himself represents the sphere of the Kesed. His son, Rabbi Elazar, to the right, represents spheres of Chochmah. And Rabbi Abba, the Talmud, represents the spheres of Bina. The Kesed is comprised of Chochmah and Bina. It breaks down into Chochmah and Bina. It is expressed, it is iterated for the Chochmah and Bina. We went through great lengths last time. And he started saying is, Ad Kanitaknu, while we're talking about it, there are 4 spiritual columns that are standing right now around us. And upon them was a parochus, spiritual parochus. And upon that came the Shechina and the neshamas of the tzaddikim from Gan Eden, and the high malachim, they all came. It's the first time Hashem Baruch Hu is revealed ever in the annals of this world that these kind of secrets are being revealed openly. So the Shechina came down, the neshamas of the malachim came down, the tzaddikim came down, the malachim came down. It says, and we ishtiku, they all remained quiet. Shamukala, and they heard, the tumult of the Shechina and the Malachim and the Neshamas all coming, behind, above the Chuppah, and their knees from awe, from fear, knocked into one another. This is at the end of the Torah, the Rebbe explains how everything that we're going to learn, Milat Hashem, in the Torah, is included in this portion of the Sitra of the Idul Rabba Kadisha. It says as follows: Da sheyesh shvila Torah. You should know that there are paths in Torah. Sheyesh ba mizbeinus gadol ma'od, that have, if you go on those paths, you gain an immense comprehension. You're able to notice things. You're able to learn things. Which is geometrically, it's a quantum leap from the regular comprehension of the Torah. It is possible. And Rebbe says, it's not possible to come to this level, this comprehensive ability to see the Torah, unless unless you have wealth. Moshe passed the Torah, and I said that principle was already put down in the part of Pshat. Yemen kemach and Torah. If there's no flour, there's no Torah. You have to eat. You need the minimum sustenance to have quote unquote minimum Torah. A person needs parnasa. By the way, by saying this, the Rebbe is mamshich parnasa to all those who are learning this Torah. So this comprehension, this kind of insight, which is huge, which is immense. You need to have a great deal of wealth. You must have, serious wealth. But it has to be a wealth that does not lack anything. Everything is achievable. Now, it says, because it is necessary to have, like all the money in the world, not necessarily, some of it is begashmius, but the same thing applies to ruchnius. Begashmius, you have this level, Since for Pashtiorisis, Rabbeinu will explain, all those who revealed the Torah, the entirety of the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu, and Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, and Ravashi, Moshe Rabbeinu gave the Torah, the entire Torah. Rabbi Yehuda Anasi gave the Mishnayos. Ravashi is the one that put together the Gemara. They were all very, very wealthy begashmias. When we're talking about the Torah Beruchnius, now we need also the Ruchnius wealth. So it can be that begashmias you don't see the wealth, but Beruchnius, whoever it is that reveals the entire Torah, the data goes through him. He's the conduit for the entire Torah. He needs to have an immense amount of wealth. The same thing, by the way, applies for Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik, he is the future of Am Yisrael. The Torah of Am Yisrael depends on Yosef HaTzadik. Am Yisrael cannot become Am Yisrael without Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik was the king of Mitzrayim, absolutely everything. And so forth. Uvnei Soschar, that had that kind of introspection, this kind of comprehension. If Chinos, as it is said, the children of Sochar, they were Yoida Bino, they were zecher to the level of Bino in the Torah. The only way that they got to it is through the fact that they were extremely wealthy. That's why we're extremely wealthy. Is extreme wealth. And Rabbeinu says, that's why Moshe and all the Nevi'im were all very wealthy. So in order to be able to come to that kind of comprehension, this override, over comprehension. That's why, because the Torah has this kind of ability to see completely. Then it got the Torah is called fortune. Anybody that the entire Torah in its entirety went through them, they were conduit for the entire Torah. They possessed extreme wealth. And Moshe Rabbeinu that brought the Torah to Am Yisrael, was tremendously wealthy. That the shards of the luchos that were made of diamond, the Baruch Hu chiseled them. And what do you do with the pieces? Because Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, you take the pieces. It's just pieces are for you. This is your share. You think that the crown jewels are valuable. Misham Yisasha Moshe. Rabbi Shesida v'chosar Mishnayos, and Rabashi, Chasim Talmud, he was Misad the entire Gemara. Gam Kene Yashim Gdoli Meod, as Chazal said, they were Misaken, the Torah Shebal Peh. That Torah went through them, so they were very, very rich. I'll talk a little bit about Bnei Saschar. What was the story of Bnei Saschar? Bnei Saschar had, their lot was Bikas Geinusar, around the Kinneret. Now, Bnei Saschar didn't do anything. Yisachar was Zvulun, right? The agreement is Yisachar Zvulun. What's the agreement? Zvulun does the work, and Yisachar sits and learns. And says, who's wealthy? Yisachar is wealthy. So what gives? How can Yisachar, the one of the two, Zvulun is supposed to support him. And who is the wealthy one of all the Shvatim? Is Yisachar. So what is Zvulun supposed to support him? The answer was that Zvulun was by the sea. You know, the port, the ships, everything else. And he had his own wealth because the tcheles grew, the snails, the fish from which they make the tcheles that comes up once in 70 years wasn't the chelik of Zvulun. And kings from all over, you know, paid tremendous amount of money for this color. You know, I think it's called crimson. I think it was the you see the kings in Europe, and they had the ermine coats, whatever it is, you know, with this color of blue or purplish kind of color. You know, in Rome, it was illegal for anybody who is not part of the nobility to wear anything with chelis in it. It was very, very, very expensive. So Zvulun had his own, you know, his own mine, gold mine. Issachar had biggest Gainasar, the best dates in the world and the best olives in the world, from which they made oil. But Bnei Yisachar is Yoide Bina Leitim. They were the Talmidei Chachamim. We'll talk a little bit about what does it take. So, being that they have such the oil that was produced from the zaysim of Bikas Genusar and the sweetness of the dates and the figs that grew there. They said the time before the Sargah Beis Hamikdash, a person would take, you know, one fig, put it in the corner of the room, and slice it and eat, you know, the entire summer, entire winter at home. One fig, just. And the Rebbe said that he ate, and that was already a couple hundred years after the Chol Beis Hamikdash, that he ate from the fruits of Genasar, and he had such. He said that his forehead became so oily. He said that when a fly sat on it, he slipped off. I was like, he says, "At kedei kach, you know, that if you would eat the figs of Genasar, you'd get drunk, you're intoxicated." That was the most expensive olive oil and fruits, whatever, in the world. But Issachar, Yoida Bina Leitim, they were Talmidei Chachamim. If they were started to open factories, you know, and produce Teslas and rockets and whatever it is that they would produce, Torah Matayala was going to be B'Torah. So Issachar said, B'shum panim v'arifim, don't do any of this. You sit down and learn. We will come to you, to Bikas Genusar, and we will cultivate the land. We'll pick up the olives, we'll pick up the dates and the figs, the whole, whatever is necessary. And we will take a tasa. You know, we have the port cities in Zvulun. We will sell it for you. And you sit down and learn. Don't go anywhere. You sit down and learn. When we talk about the learning of Bikas Genasar, I'm sorry, the learning of Bnei Yisachar, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Yisachar Chamor Garan. It was said Otto ben Yichsin, that he has a lot of money, he has a lot of it. Yet Shich Malisbel, and he put his shoulder to carry a yoke. And this is a bit of an oxymoron. If Yisachar is so wealthy, the pasuk begins Vaya Menucha Kitov, and he saw that rest is good. And the continuation of the pasuk is Vayet Shich Malisbel, put his shoulder to carry a yoke. So the first part of the pasuk said, you know what's really good? Get yourself a good shluff. Just lie down, wear an easy chair, have a little margarita with a little paper umbrella in. I don't know what. Yes, enjoy yourself under the umbrellas on the beach with Zana, like that. And you continue and you say, and you went to work. He put his shoulder karaoke. How these two things fit together? So I heard from Yaakov Shechter Shlita that he said Issachar had what you say in Yiddish is a tifste kop. Had the most profound, deep mind of all the Shvatim. He was the Ilu. He was the genius. He was and he looked into this world. So, what is the best thing in this world? He says the best thing in this world is menucha. What kind of menucha? I'm talking about menuchas hanefesh. We learned last week about the spheres, about the oilams. All this corresponds also to the levels of the nefesh of a person, the soul of a person. There is oilam atzilus, and we have oilam abriya, we have oilam yetzira, and oilam asiyah. People have, neshama, and ruach, and nefesh, and above that is chaya and yechida. Above Olam Atzilus, there's another world which is called Olam Kadmon, which is beyond time, beyond place, in a way that it's unfathomable, which Rav Shin Bar Yochai is talking about. Now, that Olam Kadmon corresponds to Yechida. Underneath it comes Olam Atzilus, which corresponds, to Chaya. So it's a living being, principle of a living being. Underneath that, Olam Abriya is Olam HaNeshamas. This is what the Neshama is. Underneath that is Olam HaYetzira, which is where the Ruach is. And underneath it is this world, Olam Asiyah, where the Nefesh is. And we spoke about it a few times. There is a certain flow, a certain logic to what is being given. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is dealing with the Bria, is dealing with creation. So the Mekabalim, they gave a mashal of a person that holds a penny, and he hands out his hand, and he puts the penny in the hand of the poor person. So this is, the Yud Kei Vav Kei. The penny is the Yud. The 5 fingers of the giver, which is the Bina. We'll explain why 5 is Bina. Is the hand of the Noisan. The very same way the Chokhmah is unfathomable without the Bina, which we explained at great length last time. The Bina is the thing that grasps the Chokhmah. That's the fingers that grasp the coin. The Vav of Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's the arm that takes the money and brings it close to the receiver. And the last hey of Shem Havaya is the 5 fingers in the hand of the receiver, of the poor person. Now, this is the transmission in which the Shefa Eloki, the heavenly bounty, comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to us in this world. It has to go through these condensation stages, as it were. The Yud, the penny, is the Chayes Elokus that comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It has to come through these stages until it comes to the nefesh, and you have to eat. As Rabbeinu says, you need parnasa. Corresponding to this, each and every one of us has, as we said before, nefesh, which is the physical nefesh, and the ruach, that's the spirit, and the neshama above that, above the chaya, above the yechida. So the Mekabalan explained that what is the stage, the ultimate stage, the stage of perfection for each one of those stages of being. What is the shleimus of the nefesh? What is the shleimus of the ruach? Because a person is supposed to perfect himself in this world, supposed to walk on yourself. Towards what end? Okay, let's say you're working on your nefesh. What does it mean that you did it? Ruach. What does it mean you did that? Neshama. What does it get you when you hold in the level of neshama? Also the level of yechida. So the Mekubalim gave a mashal of the glass blower. There's a person, a great artisan that holds this pipe we spoke about it a few times before. It has this pipe, and it puts a glob of molten glass at the very end, and it blows into it, and it grows to its final shape, whatever it is, and then he cuts it off. Right? It's done. The molten glass is the final product, represents the nefesh. That's the lowest rung. That's the end product. When is it complete? When has it reached a level of perfection? When the blower stops blowing, right? So what happens to the air that goes into the glob? It reaches a state of rest. It's called menuchas hanefesh. If a person does not have menuchas hanefesh, he didn't, bring his nefesh to this level of perfection. He's not able to get the transmissions, as it were, from the levels above it. The level above the nefesh is the pipe, the air that goes through the pipe. That's the ruach. Ruach all corresponds to wind, right? What does it mean? It means moving air. As opposed to menucha, which is the quintessential perfection of the nefesh, the ruach, in its perfection, is when it blows, when it moves, right? But it's only when you have, let's say, when you have menuchas hanefesh, you're able to feel the excitement of the ruach blowing on you. I'm not talking about ruach sahara. I'm not talking about storm winds. That's when it's Sahara. Yetzer Tov is a gentle wind. So you're sitting on the bank of a river, and you're quiet, and you're b'menucha. You can feel the breeze caressing you. The only way that you can receive the message of the ruach is when your nefesh has reached a state of menucha. Above that, you have where the mouth of the blower, touches the pipe. This is the neshama. The neshama is neshima, is breath. The blower blows, he breathes into the stake, into the ruach. That's the air in the proximity of the actual blower. That's the kiss that the giver gives over. It's like somebody very close to you that's breathing on your neck. There's intimacy in that. Above that, you have the chaya, that's the air while it's still in the lungs of the blower. It's still part and parcel of it. It's not even a product. It's not something that comes out. It's in. And the yechida is the idea of creating the vessel in the mind of the glass blower. That's the yechida. It's totally one with the. So you can say the Yechida is totally one with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. The stages are especially in which it's quote unquote separates and comes with Maisa until actually it comes in the breath of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, then it comes in the Ruach that flows, it comes into the Nefesh. In order for the Nefesh to be able to perceive it, it has to be Menucha. How do you achieve Menuchas Nefesh? In other words, when a person is rattled in this world, for everything that goes over him, he can't feel no breeze. You're too busy. How can you get to a state of Menuchas Nefesh? That took Issachar, the deepest of all the Shvatim. And Issachar said, Vaya Menucha Kitov, he saw that in this world, the only thing that enables a person to become transcendental and actually receive, the bounty from Kodesh Baruch Hu, is through Menucha, Menuchas Nefesh. But how do you achieve it in this world? So Issachar gave the answer, Vayet Shich Malisbo. He said, a person has to go through in this world whatever he's supposed to go in this world. He can't choose it. There's no one person in this world that goes through this life without trials and tribulations. Trials and tribulations. Fancy English. Part and parcel of the whole thing. Issachar said, you know how you can achieve an equilibrium in view of all these storms and all these things that are going in this world. Accept it. Accept it. Understand that you need to go through this. But it's okay. They say about there was one chassid that went to his Rebbe, and whenever he went, things went wrong. The bigger the Rebbe, the bigger the tribulations that go, getting to him. And he used to get very upset. And by the time he'd get to the Rebbe, he was like, it took him a long time until he just calmed down, whatever. And he realized that you can't do it like that. He's coming to the Rebbe, and after Rosh Hashanah, he already starts to calm down. What's going on? So he decided before he goes, and this is especially important for all those who travel to Uman, what's Hashem? You have to understand that the journey does not start when you board a plane. The journey starts when you start thinking about going. Already, they're going to allow us, they're not going to allow us. In Moldova, there'll be planes, there'll not be planes. And a lot of people, there's not the Ukrainians, not busy. So this Chassid accepted, something, I'm going to go to the Rebbe now, and I know I'm going to have the most impossible to take trip. The carriage is going to be broken, one of the horses is going to die, this is going to happen, it's going to be rain, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, whatever. I'm fine, I'm covered everything. He got to his Rebbe, cool as a cucumber, everything is okay, no problem. Usually the trip itself, when you accept whatever will come, is a lot easier. We spoke, not only, it usually comes when you accept it, the difficulties are less. Not only that whatever happens is less difficult, but less difficult things happen. A person goes to shul on Shabbos, and he goes and he davens, and then I'm coming home, I'm going to make kiddush, Shabbos Amalka, whatever it is, he comes home, and the wife is whatever it is, and the children are whatever it is, and everything is exactly the opposite of what I want. Where's Shabbos? Where's it? And he gets angry. Yeah, okay, you get angry. Other people get angry. But what if the person says, listen, I'm finishing the shul, and I'm going to go home. I'm going to have a fantastic Shabbos, and I accept it by myself at Shichma Lisbo. My wife is going to be upset because the children, whatever it is, and this is going to be good. And you come home, 9 out of 8 times, or 9 out of 10 times, you're going to come home and everything is okay. If it really would be, this Mishigas, so you'll take it. Because you accepted it upon yourself, Milchatchila. But the point is, you don't really understand that when you come with this approach, you're already inviting an agreeable reality. People don't realize that when they step into a room, they don't have to say anything. Whatever is in their minds is already projecting a certain kind of subliminal reaction by the people that are there. If you're just stepping into a room and you just look around and judgmentally, it causes people they don't even feel it. You haven't said a word. And everybody feels intimidated, feels upset. Who's this guy? When a person comes home from shul expecting to have, a fantastic Shabbos and the wife and the children, or whatever the case may be, it means less than this is not enough. If the wife is not 100% calm and happy and whatever it is and ready to receive me and the table is all set up and the children are all washed up and spitzstick and everything else, that is not enough. Okay, guess what? Nobody's perfect. You come home, everybody feels it. You're already judging. Are you happy? Are you behaving yourself? Is that everything great for Shabbos? You are inviting confrontation. So, Vayet Shichma Lisbal is not just a stoic approach. You can't control things anyhow. So let it slide. We're not talking about that. We're talking about accepting it. That's Avodas Hashem. This is how you can learn Torah. And the acceptance of his Sachar was so profound, he didn't even have to work. His brother did it for him. Because he was ready to work, he's ready to do anything. It's all Avodas Hashem. To such a degree that Zvulun said to him, if you are not sitting learning Torah, Am Yisrael is finished. Leave it alone. I'll take care of it. And it's incredible because messengers from kings from all over the ancient world that used to, they came to biggest Genesar to learn the agricultural secrets that was going on. There's no secrets. It's Sachar Zvulun. Zvulun is taking care of his Sachar. His Sachar is Yadeh Bin Eatim. So the first thing that we are talking about over here is the first isbeinus, the first insight that can contain the entire Torah is Vaya Menucha Kitov, Vayet Shichma Lisbal. He saw that the best you can do, Gashmistik, is 6 Menuchas Nefesh. The only way you can get it is by everything is good. Whatever's going to come is going to be fine. You have to take care of things. Doesn't mean that you have to worry, whatever. You have to do things. But there is, as we spoke here many times before, being that we have new faces, we have to repeat that. There's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is objective. Suffering is the pain that the person feels because he feels the pain. There's a certain kind of insult when a person is in pain. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm in pain? It's like an anger. I can't take it. What am I? I'm chopped liver? I don't know what's going on here. Suffering is optional. Acceptance means that you accept, you first of all, suffering goes out of the equation. The more a person is able to accept that everything that happens from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and everything is l'toiva, and not just l'toiva. As Rav said, Kadosh Baruch Hu can do anything. Kadosh Baruch Hu loves you more than anything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can make all your trouble go away like that. And being that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you so much, that's exactly what he wants to do. So why doesn't he do it? The answer is because it's the best for you, right now, where you are. Reb Nosson asked, he says, why do we daven for refuah? If everything that happens to us is the best for us, why do we daven to be healthy? Why are we daven for parnasa? Whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu gives is good, right? So why do you want something else? So Reb Nosson explains, he says that right now, I'm in a state in which Kadosh Baruch Hu is not present. This is where the pain comes in. So in this quote unquote, I don't want to call it godless, but hiding. This is kind of a stora situation. The best thing for me is to feel something that is unpleasant. He says, but the minute that you daven for it, you change your situation. You bring Kadosh Baruch Hu into the equation. Okay, now you don't need to suffer anymore. The tikkun for suffering is when before you asked for it. It was the best thing for you then. Once you daven, you brought the Kadosh Baruch Hu into your state of being. No need for suffering anymore. Beseder, you got it. And the Rebbe keeps on going deeper and deeper. The Rabbeinu says in Teres Hamichei, the Rabbeinu says that when a person looks, the perspective of a person, when a person goes through situations in life which are not easy, the longer term that he looks at, the easier it is to accept whatever he's going through. And he says that the Asam Yisurim, he says that's why he says in the nefesh of a person, when a person Allah Aleichem suffers, great Yisurim, he shuts his eyes. Why is he shutting his eyes? He's looking at Ein Sof, he's looking at infinity. Because when you look at infinity, you look at the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there everything is good. You can be moishech, amtaka, and sweetening to whatever you're going through. You're looking, how far are you looking? Listen, you have to get blood tests, okay? You go, it's painful. Yeah, I know it's painful. But there's no suffering involved. Why? Because I know I'm doing it for something. I'm doing it for a reason. I'm going to get the results. I'm going to be healthy, whatever it is. And get some supplements, whatever it is, everything will be fine. But it hurts. Okay. If you're looking at the tachlis, at the reason, at the goal of why you're going through what you're going through, Okay, so just a little tip. It's not the end of the world. But if a person goes around your neighborhood with a pin, sticking people, and the person goes stick you. Ah, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Call the police. You're a madman on your pinprick. What's the difference? You make a cholim to get blood test, and this one is the same pinprick. Yeah, but here you don't realize, you don't see a reason for it. So you're suffering from it. But in Kupat Cholim, you know what the reasons are. So it hurts a little tip. And the longer term that you're looking at things, the easier it makes to sustain whatever a person goes through. That's the secret of Issachar. That's the beginning of the wealth that can encompass in it the entire Torah Kula. Rav Nosson said, you know, a lot of people want to go into Gan Eden, but together with the titans. You know, I want to go to Gan Eden together with the sushi. It's the end of the world. So just get over here to what he's saying. וזה בחינת, והקדוש ברוך הוא עושה את משה רבינו, פסל לך, you know, sculpt for you. Chazal said, what is לך? הפסלת ישולך. The residue, the chaff will belong, you know, will belong to you. כמו שבפשט הרייס, the pshat of the Torah. Kodeshim Chachim is a pshat before you're mechadish a pshat. Okay, so it's a Ramar Kodem Akdomas. You have to go through all kinds of understanding what the different things, you know, what the different concept make up this particular thing and explain it. Then you take all these preambles and you get to the point. Once you get to the point, you don't need those preambles. Once you explain, when you get all the mishalim that you know that we spoke about here, okay. Once you realize, okay, now we know the nefesh, there's nefesh, ruach, neshama, chay, chida. Okay, so now you don't need this all the mishalim that we spoke about. Because all the mishalim is only to understand that it was, you know, to serve it. Once you got it, that's it. You don't need the mishalim anymore. Parables. The rich person, you know, with the hand, with the this, with the that, and the glass blower, all these things were preambles in order to explain a certain principle. Once you got the principle, you don't need preambles anymore. What the Rebbe is saying here, the same way in Pastor Reisa, when you mechadish pshat, if there's akdomas, you have to go through preambles. Then you throw away, you discard the preambles, and you get to the point. The main thing is the goal, the thing that you want to say. And all the things you said before, what is it? That's the residue, that's the debris, you know, the chaff. They're being cut out around the mechuvan. That's the thing that you chop off, you chisel off. The same thing, the same principle that you have to present akdomas preamblums. And when you get to the mechuvan, you don't need akdomas anymore. But what are the akdomas? The akdomas are the wealth. The akdomas is the psolis. When you know this gaze, this deep, profound comprehension of the Torah. In order to get it, you have to go through quite a few preambles. And when you come to the mechuvan, when you reach that level of Zbenis B'Torah, Kaikal mechuvan, all these roundabouts, all these explanations, all these stories, all these preambles, all these mishalim, and Pchinas Hashiras, that's the wealth. Because the wealth is always the tool with which you come to whatever it is that you want. The food, the money that you have is in order to buy the food. And that exists in order to feed you. And that exists so you can learn, you can serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the money and the food and everything else is the psoilus. That's a preamble. It all exists in order to enable you to sit and learn Torah, to sit and serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The more you work, the more the more you need. And all this that through which you come to this is Beinunus. That's what Chazal said, Psal lecha, Psal yeshelcha. Misham is Asher Moshe. Psal lecha, the psoilus, the residue, will be yours. And this is where Moshe Rabbeinu became the secret, the source of Moshe Rabbeinu's wealth. That, that residue of the luchos. These are the sivuvim. These are the preamblums. These are the pre-explanations, all these things that we say before, to finally come to the final explanation. And these are all the preamblums that enable finally to come to the Beinunus. And because it is through them that you come to this wealth. Mammon, everybody, all languages in the world, I think mammon means, the dough, right? The do re mi, right? Money, mammon. Mammon, Rosh Hashanah, Misham is Asher Moshe. This is the Rosh Hashanah. And the Vav is the Luchos. That's the source. Moshe Rabbeinu became wealthy. Ki Luchos Archam Vav, Rachbam Vav. The Luchos are the quintessential Vav. Rabbeinu says in Torah Aleph, the measurement of the Luchos together was six tfachim is on 6 tfachim. So Vav, nothing obviously is accidental. Everything is everything's a lechavona. Vav is a remez, is euphemism for the luchos. But the moment Misham Moshe together with the Vav of the luchos inside is oisius mammon. So I asked, my Rov, the last few years, and very weak. I remember he was in Uman a few years ago. I saw him, and he could hardly walk. Now he's not even traveling to Uman anymore because he can't. But I remember a few years ago, I said to him, I'm praying for you that you should have all the abilities, all the koiches, all the vim and vigor that you used to have 20 years ago. And he said to me, who says that 20 years ago was better? Maybe now is better. He says, whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu does is good. In other words, that principle, whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu does is good, is a slogan we all use. We all know it's true, and we all know that it's easier said than done. We all know that it's easier to talk the talk than walk the walk. But the important thing that we must realize is that as you go along, by learning about it, by davening about it, you speaking to Kodesh Baruch Hu about it, you are advancing and you are acquiring this deeper introspection that enables you to accept ever-growing levels of quote-unquote inconveniences and realize that's what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants is 100% good. Up to the point that, they said the Nachman of Trulchin is the kids of Kutalochas and the Sforim, tremendous. And before he passed away, was the Rav Tulchin was a Goyen Oilam, and before he passed away, he was paralyzed. So they hired, an orderly, a very simple person who, that will handle him. This orderly was, a very rough individual. Just in those days, I mean, you're not talking about her hiring a nurse. Just so this he got fine. So he handled him roughly. So he told him. So the Chorinov told this orderly, "I been given billig by you. I became cheap by you. Now because it's the Rav." And then he could hardly talk. He would just, say Krishma, whatever it is. And he said to the people, "You probably think that you better not daven for me. What is his life worth? I mean, come on. Look what he has to go through with it." He says, "Not so. B'shum ba'ofen daven for me. I should be healthy and I should live long, whatever. Because every breath taken by a Jew, especially every breath taken by a tzaddik like him, is of infinite value. But it's uncomfortable, and he's this and he's that. And look at him. I mean, he cannot play football. He cannot play baseball. He cannot." The more profound you get, the more profound the istakkus you get. The Chorinov basically had the entire Torah going through him. He understood that even when the only thing he could do was just breathe and eat a little bit, maybe some liquids. That's it. He says, "Daven for me," because every breath is of infinite value. Hashem Yazor. First of all, that all of us will have no Yisurim. At the same, we should have no manias. Because Baruch can do it, as easy as anything, easy peasy, right? No problem. We already said it's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. So let's trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu just to be like that. And we should have, each and every of us, Ashir's Godol, should all have this ability to see everything. It's coming from Kodesh Baruch Hu. And B'ezrat Hashem, all of you should have all the money that you need, everything that you need, and everything that you need. Wife and women, children, everything else. B'ezrat Hashem, to be a Mesamigdash and Geula Shleimo. Fun, have fun. You know what it means to learn these things. This is Gan Eden. This is Gan Eden. Not just what will be. Rizal says, Olam Haba is not just what will come after. Olam Haba is a world that keeps on coming all the time. It's present continuous. Olam Haba, it's coming all the time. This is Gan Eden. This is our Gan Eden. We're in the body, so we don't feel it. B'Seder Gamor. After 120 years plus that, it's 18.5%. We will know what it is that we learned today. Hashem, see you next week. Kol Tov, Tzlacha.